Welcome back to Newsmaker Live. Prostitution is our topic this evening. We have Dr. Stephen King, we have Bishop McLaurin, and we have had some very interesting discussion. The phones are ringing off the hook. I mean, we have not given you the opportunity to respond as we would like to, but you know, people are calling to share the debate. Well, we lost that call, so we can actually discuss something more. You know, the last caller was very adamant that
it's not a problem, leave it alone.
Yes,
it's not.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, pretty much. I mean, but the truth is, there are many broken people involved in this industry. And, you know, just ignoring them would not fix the problem. We have to go down to the root of it, as we said earlier in the show. It is not, prostitution is just a symptom of many social ills that we face.
That need to be addressed, some fundamental social ills, because child abuse, social deprivation, economic deprivation, and the environment that we have, this materialistic, violent, sexualized environment, that's the root of many, many problems. We've only spoken about prostitution and the other path I spoke about, but a lot of our young boys are caught up in that environment too, and are being, I'm not talking about being in prostitution, I'm talking about getting into violence, domestic violent relationships, getting involved in crime because of that very same route. And prostitution, to me, is a gateway, as I said, into dealing with these critical social ills that we are not addressing properly. So if the caller does not want to address these fundamental social ills in our country, something's wrong.
Before we take that call, and I'll have that call on hold for just a second here, we have been focusing on the women. But Dr. King, you know, and also Bishop, you know that there are young boys and probably older boys too involved in prostitution.
There are.
And, you know, some of them, they don't want to be in it, but because of those same issues, they get involved. Before you address it, let me just say this call so that we can have a discussion. Good evening. Please go ahead with your contribution, caller.
Quick point, Clinton.
Yes.
There are less than 10% of men involved in sex work. But the quick point I wanted to make was in relation to the caller who said sex workers are not being harassed. This is totally untrue because all the studies we have done and the information is there, all the support group meetings that have been held with sex workers, all of the information is there. There is significant harassment and stigma and discrimination against sex workers, starting with the police and several others. And even within the healthcare system, there's significant stigma and discrimination. I just wanted to make that point because the caller said that as if he knew what he was talking about, he had some study. I am talking about the St. Lucian context in which we have done the work and all the studies, all the support group meetings, all of the research points to significant harassment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good point. I like that. You asked a question, though. What was the question you asked?
No, I asked about the focus on women when, you know, there are young boys involved in
yeah, and in fact, some stats on boys. Let me tell you that the adolescent health study showed that I think it's 6.5% of our young boys report being sexually abused, right? And again,
not by women.
Not by women. And this is a similar route for the girls. And we are getting boys, but like the last caller said, it is the minority of the sex work among boys. But it is something that obviously needs to be addressed as well.
Yeah, no, notwithstanding that it's so small, it's still a problem.
But it's still there.
You know, the abuse is still there.
Of course.
Good evening, please go ahead.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
To Mr. Clinton.
Yes, sir.
And to Dr. King and to Bishop McLaurin. I think I commend Dr. King very much on his position. And also the fact that according to, as a minister of the gospel, the Bible speaks about Rahab, a harlot. But because she extended a good hand, a free hand of saving some of God's children, God looked upon her and changed her life, and she was featured in the lineage of Christ. Today, I don't think that should be a focus of the church, because every sin is sin. Why isn't drunkenness a crime? Adultery, fornication. In the eyes of God, the mission of the church should be to show compassion, to show mercy, to preach that Jesus Christ, and not just preach Jesus Christ, but live Christ, so that the prostitute, the drunkard, the fornicator, the adulterer will see Christ living through a believer, not only because telling them we love them, but showing by our deeds towards them that we love them. And I think we as a church need to refocus our mission. Imagine David or Joseph or even Daniel serving under an adulterous king. And they lived and they served him, showing an excellent spirit in them. Not worrying, but living that life so that they can see Christ alive or God alive in us. So we need to show more compassion towards these persons. And Dr. King, I would disagree with you. I would not like to hear you say that. That if you go to hell. You are a man of compassion. From what I've heard, what I've read about you, I've met you a couple of times, sadly, at the mortuary.
Yes, sir.
I can say, I believe that before you depart from this life, God will touch your life.
Thank you, sir.
And will offer you the hand of salvation. And I believe your heart will be open to receive it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller, for that contribution.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
But I think the caller, because I don't want the caller to make an assumption that the church is not compassionate. This church has a strong position. Maybe they need to get more involved in the debate that is going on now to deal with the issues. But I think the message of the church, because inside the church, especially the groups that I work with in the fellowship, the evangelical group, one of the core groups that makes up the church are persons who have come from different lifestyles, from a life of common law living, fornication, prostitution. The church is filled with people that have come from all of this, that have made a choice to be transformed, to change and come into a new understanding. So I don't necessarily want the caller to give an idea that the church is not reaching out, because that's the mission of the church, to reach out into the poor. I firmly believe we can go to the more at communities that are at greater risk, or greater effort could be done in that. But I believe the church is reaching out.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you very much, and Bishop McLaurin, for I think it was a very enlightening discussion for me, and you know, I enjoyed the callers, and I really hope, and in fact, hopefully we can say we have faith that our country can truly be that tough-minded, compassionate-hearted country that really looks at our people and connects across the barriers, across the divides, and gives a hand up to all who need it. Because, you know, we all in this life together, and we sink or swim together. You know, so to me, the prostitute is she's my empress, she's my queen, she's my sister, she's my daughter, she's out there. I have to give her a hand up, just like any other vulnerable group. And, you know, that's what it's about. If we do that, it's actually enlightened self-interest. If we do that, we all much stronger, we all are much more powerful people.
Yes, definitely. Well said, well said. Gentlemen, well, I wouldn't say that, I don't know, it would be bad to say that I don't know if I've enjoyed the program as much as this one, but it's really close to that, you know. I mean, yeah, I really enjoyed it, the discussion. I mean, as I said before, we can have a discussion, a debate on a topic that is so contentious, so sensitive, but yet remain civil about it. And I appreciate the civility that was displayed here. I appreciate the points that have come out in this debate, and hopefully it will enlighten St. Lucia a little bit more on this issue and other issues that we face. So thank you very much for joining us. Dr. Stephen King, Senator, social activist, co-founder of RISE, and many other things. Bishop Emmanuel McLaurin of the Fellowship of Gospel Preaching Churches. I'm Clinton Reynolds. Join me again next week at the same time for another Newsmaker Live. But before then, I'll be here on Sunday with the Press Club. Until then, I'll see you.